We will have one more.
Council, do you want a couple of minutes, or should we continue? Yeah. Okay, somebody's requesting 2 minutes, so go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. Take 2 minutes. City Council meeting of June 18 has come to order. And I was told that Caesar was going to sing the Pledge of Allegiance in high C. So Caesar, would you please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
You guys will remain standing, please. This will be a moment of silence. We've been doing this for a little while now, since I've been on the council. It's for our military men and women, first responders that pay the ultimate sacrifice for their community and this country. And since our last council meeting, unfortunately, there's been 8 first responders that have paid that price. So if you would join me now. Thank you.
May I have a roll call, please?
Roll call. Councilmember Baptista.
Present.
Councilmember Aguilar.
Present.
Councilmember King.
Present.
Councilmember Garcia.
Present.
Sorry. Mayor.
Let's
Samra?
correct that.
That
Let's
was-
correct that to Mayor Pro Tem.
Yes, Mayor Pro Tem. Mayor Samra.
Present.
For the record, council members, Mayor Pro Tem and Mayor are in attendance.
Okay, closed session announcements. There are no announcements this time. After the meeting, we will be going back into closed session for a few minutes, so just make an announcement. Council, any changes to the agenda? Staff, any changes?
No, only just to point out that we will need at least another 10 minutes of closed session item before
Yeah.
we leave.
Okay. If not, then we'll go on to awards, presentations, and proclamations. This is a presentation by Mayor Samra recognizing the Livingston High School varsity baseball team. Do we have a representative from them who'd like to introduce their team, and who's the coach? Or Caesar, whoever you guys want. Please.
You want them to come up, or?
No, go, first tell us a little bit about the team. There's a mic right there, so.
Okay. You want me to mic?
Yeah, that way we get you on, and
never
also, small, pretty,
Oh,
for you're on
gotcha.
TV too,
Yeah.
so.
Okay, so first of all, council, thank you for having us here today. It's always an honor to come before you guys.
I know you, but can you introduce?
Oh,
say your
sorry.
name?
My name's Matt Winton. I'm the varsity baseball coach at Livingston High School. And again, thank you very much for having us. Proud of these guys to be able to come represent our town and our school and our community. We won a league championship this year, went 10-2 in conference, 19-12 overall. It was the first league championship in 23 years, which was quite remarkable, but almost embarrassing for me to say because I've been the coach for 26 years. So it's been a long time for me. But what I will say is that they represented, and we always stress this all the time, represent our community, represent our school and our families with respect, and play the game the right way. Don't disrespect the game. Don't disrespect the name on the front of your uniform, you know. And they were widely respected throughout the conference. It was kind of fun going back into the TVL this year because there were 2 or 3 teams that it was going to be their year, but they didn't know it was going to be our year, which was kind of nice because we were in a different league the last 8 or 9 years. Won the league, won our first 2 playoff games against Venture Academy and then against a really, really good Woodland team on the road. Probably in my 26 years, the most fun I've ever had coaching in a game. But it was a lot of fun, and then unfortunately it didn't work out the way we wanted it to. We lost our last 2 playoff games, but put up a really, really good fight. Ended up in the Final Four of Division IV, in the Sac Joaquin section. For those of you that don't know what the Sac Joaquin section is, it's anywhere from Sacramento to, South Merced, La Grande, Sonora to Los Banos, that kind of area. So it's a very, very big section, one of the largest in the state. So finishing the Final Four in the Sac Joaquin Division IV section is quite remarkable. Ended up having 4 players make the first team all-conference and 4 others make second team all-conference. Also had the league MVP in Cesar Avila, which was very nice to have. And just, again, I just can't say enough about these guys. As good a ball players they were, they're just better kids, and they're just made it fun to be around. So here they are. You want me to introduce them, or?
Please introduce them.
All right,
They're
so
great.
we'll just go right here. So Devin Del Toro was a pitcher for us. Won 8 games this year, is on the top 10 school records for all-time wins. Memo Avalos. Memo was predominantly a first baseman for us, pitched a little bit for us. He's a junior, all-team first team. Dakota Garcia, third baseman, pitcher, closer, also first team all-league. Tyler Garcia, catcher for us, second team all-conference. He's a junior, he'll be back. Eli Morales, second baseman for us. He's a junior, he'll be back. Tarzan Ramos, first year baseball guy, was awesome on the bench for us, kept us all really loose. Nate Gutierrez, outfielder for us, did a really good job, 4-year player. Anthony Barajas, catcher, infielder, outfielder, pinch runner, pinch hitter, he did it all for us. He played all over the place for us. Very good player, another 4-year player. Cooper Winton was shortstop, pitcher, all-team, first-team guy. And then, like I mentioned earlier, MVP of the league, 4-year varsity starter for us. I could list all his accolades as far as top 10 on the school, but probably the best offensive player that we've ever had at Livingston High School, if you look at the record books, and easily the best offensive player I've ever been allowed to coach. So, and also our number one guy on the hill, Cesar Avila. So you'll notice we're a little light. I think we have 10 here today. I counted. We're missing 6. You get into this part of the summer, some guys are off on vacation, some are doing other sports right now, and so I thank you guys for coming down and being here and representing well like you always do, and it's kind of fun to see you all again. I miss you guys.
Well, gentlemen, yeah, it's on. Well, gentlemen, great job. You know, I wish we were fortunate enough to have this kind of an honor. You know, you guys well earned, well deserved. One thing you guys will always remember after you guys leave is always remember your coach. I'm a class of 1979. I know for you guys it's ancient history, but I'll still remember our coach, Coach Key. You know, I'm sure if he were to tell us to run now, we would probably still run without even thinking about it. So that's something that's worthwhile. So, and always remember and cherish the memories and just continue on with you, learn from the coach. And they're always your best friend, and they make you work hard, but you also who you are too, you know. So build on what you've done here already. So with that, Coach, I'd like to, we have a, for you guys. And this says City of Livingston proudly recognizes the Livingston High School varsity baseball team 2019 TVO champions. We are proud of you and your coaching staff for your commitment, hard work, and outstanding performance June 18, 2019.
Thank you.
Come on, guys, let's get a picture real quick here. After you guys come over here so we get the coach in the middle. Yeah, let's balance it out a little bit. There you go. There you go. Council, won't you guys come on up here for come on, Council. Come on, staff. You earned it too. Come on. Can you guys get all the way in?
Thanks again.
Thank you both. Okay. Okay. You guys ready? Okay, moving on. Item number 3, I believe due to scheduling conflicts, the coach not available, we will present for the Livingston High School girls track and field at our next council meeting. So now we'll move on to item 4. This is a presentation by Jackie Benoit, Parks and Recreation Superintendent, Park Bond, Equity Project, Prop 68 grant.
Good evening again, ladies and gentlemen. I have to tell you, this is probably one of the most exciting presentations in my 18 years that I'm able to present to you. To me and the community, it's a dream come true. And so we are here tonight. This is Gabriel Salazar. He is going to help me. We're just going to kind of tag team it. As we talk about the Prop 68 grant, he has been an amazing godsend that has helped us collect all of our data to give to the public health advocates and KDI, and I'm so grateful that he has been a part of this process. Jose?
Yes. For the benefit of the council and also our public, just wanted to give a little bit of background before Mr. Salazar actually starts with his presentation. We're very fortunate from the standpoint that we've had a long relationship with Kanat, who is actually part of Public Health Advocates. And so even before the Prop 68 grant opportunity came to be, we were tag teaming on different efforts here in the city. And so one of the neat things about Public Health Advocates and this Prop 68 process is that we actually get an extra point as part of our application process by partnering with an organization as such. So every point counts, folks, every point counts. So we're very fortunate about that. The other underlying piece of all of this is that they actually were able to get some money from a foundation, and that money that they actually obtained, they're going to be paying the grant writer to actually do the grant writing for us. So, man, I can't tell you how fortunate we feel for the help and also for the coverage of that cost. And then it doesn't stop there. They are also covering the cost of staff, their staff coming out here and having all these workshops that we've already had. And then in addition, the little goodies that they give out, the surveys, and then the team that they're working with as it relates to the design, because we don't have anybody on staff that knows about recreational design and form and function and all that, those kind of things. So in essence, we're very, very fortunate to be partnering up with these individuals, these organizations, and then also Mr. Salazar, who happens to be a Livingston native that came back to the area. So thank you very much. Continue.
I think it is on, so as long as we keep talking through it, I'm going to get our slide thing here.
Thank you. So thank you, Jose. Jackie, the residents of City of Livingston. We've had an extensive process involving, like Jose said, public health advocates and also KDI. We've had 5 public meetings where we've solicited input from the community on what they would like to see in this former warehouse that was used for the sweet potato business recently. It's associated with the Livingston Farmers Association, which was established in 1918. But since then, they broke off and they got back together in the 1950s. So this facility that we're talking about is about 3 blocks down between 6th and 7th Street, C and D Street. There's a lot there on the south side of D Street, and then there's a lot immediately in front of it, a small parking lot that we're using for this project. And then northeast of that to the right, if you want to click it, Jackie. There's another parcel that will be part of this park project. And what this is, it's a state-granted fund Like Jose said, we're going to be able to get monies. If we receive the award, we're able to receive money to purchase the property and also with the construction associated with this project. As part of Prop 68, there's $650 million that's going to be dispersed and distributed throughout the state of California. They're looking for park place opportunities in areas that are low income, working class. They're in high need of public parks because these park projects are located. They're in areas that are park poor, where people have to walk too far to use a public open space. With this opportunity that we have here, what's great about it is that, like I said, we're going to reuse or hoping to reuse this former warehouse facility for sweet potatoes. And it's going to be a good opportunity where we're going to have a recreational facility anticipated with 2 courts, also a dance room, a classroom with computers, also a commercial kitchen, also some nice art features outside, like a mural we're anticipating to use, a recreational facility, features for kids, children's playgrounds. We're going to have a small children's playground, a larger children's playground. Also, depending on the configuration there was 3 conceptual plans that were developed by the community. But going back to this, as you can see, the population here is 3,500, and the people in poverty in this area, which people in poverty equates to $36,000 per year in annual median income per household. So like I see, this is kind of like an area of the community where there's no parks that are immediately available. There's no health centers, fitness centers, anything like that. So it would be a great opportunity for the community to take advantage in the immediate vicinity, but then also around Livingston during the summer months where it gets hot. It'll be a good opportunity for them to use this. Yes, go ahead, Jose.
Yeah, so we basically, in order to go after, we wanted to look at the best, to get the maximum amount of points, to have the best opportunity to actually land some money. So we had to look at the different census tracts within the city of Livingston. And so, and then identify the best project, again, to get the maximum points and be able to leverage and get the money. So this area was deemed to be the best opportunity for us in Livingston. Again, we want to give thanks to our partners because they actually helped identify the census tract and answer all the questions that needed to be answered to actually come up with a project. Lastly, we're looking at getting site control of the facility. We're in negotiations now, and we'll talk about that a little later. But this is why this area was selected.
So as part of the grant, we had to have community input. And why was that? Because they wanted us to create a better project by having the community input. They wanted the community to develop a sense of ownership for the project. And it helped us identifying and cultivating leaders as we had all of these workshops. So our first engagement, as many of you may remember, was outside of the basketball games. Your kids brought stuff home from school, and we conducted a survey. So the survey identified challenges. We had 780 total surveys collected, which are the folks writing this grant were just amazed at the turnout and the support from the community to get this kind of turnout. We had 159 in person, we had 141 online, and we had 480 surveys collected from our schools. So some of the questions were like, what types of things do you like to do in your spare time? What makes your neighborhood unique? And they asked people, what are the top 2 priorities that they had for their neighborhoods? And as you can see, this is the response that we got.
And then, so the community identified, like I said, in collaboration with KDI and a PHA, brainstormed ideas in terms of strengths and challenges for the community and what were the recreational opportunities that we would like to see in this area of Livingston. And as you can see here, we had PHA as a facilitator, so they had these boards in terms of where we identified what were the things that we would like to see, the things that the community would like to see in Livingston, what were the strengths, there was points that were earned for different projects. So for instance, like a recreational facility with courts earned a certain amount of points. If it was a park feature, like a children's playground, that earned a certain amount of points. So basically there was 240 points that we had to target, and that was the goal, to get as many points as possible, so that it would make us a better candidate and more likely eligible for this grant opportunity.
So all of the surveys, they combined the results of the surveys, and it was the job of this committee that formed in the last picture as to how would we address the needs that the community, wanted to see addressed. And so the three groups came up with all of these different ideas on addressing the challenges.
And you can see, like, there from the first group, they identified, for instance, classrooms, job center, Wi-Fi access, commercial kitchen, a gazebo, shade and trees, and also part of this project, it's anticipated to have, I think, 20 trees as part of this project as well. And then there's group 2 identified other features as well, like swings, art studio, music room, parking lot, playground, those kinds of things. And then you saw group 3 again with the performing center. Some of these goals or objectives kind of like were cross-referenced and mentioned by multiple groups, and you could see here how they were used throughout. Okay. And this is kind of like what we alluded to earlier in terms of properization. Yeah, sorry, it was 250 points, not 240 points, I apologize. But there you could see how the groups identified the points and where they ranked. So, for instance, like a large community center, medium size would equate to 90 points. A running track was 50 points. Concession restroom 40 points. So you see, kind of like the priorities and objectives of each of the groups, and they had pretty common themes. Like we could see that all of them ranked high on the community center medium sized facility. They all wanted for sure, like. Let's see, a Ninja Gym was in one of them. Wi-Fi, being able for the opportunity to the community to use that as well. Large playground was used by 2 of the groups. And on the bottom right, you could see there, those were kind of the areas that the groups agreed on, sorry. And you see there from the table, community center was like ranked number 1, the concession restroom number 2, shade structure large, number 3, and then you could see kind of like the tabulated points and what these amounted to for the project. And this is kind of just a visual of what those points and what those objectives, uses of space meant in visual form. So you could see the community computer room, the commercial kitchen, you see the large playground, you see the splash fountain that could be used by kids, the playground again, the tent to cover the area, the shade structures as well, grill, music art studio as well. So these are kind of like the things that the community came up with, what they would like to see in this new recreational facility and then / park space. And they did, PHA was helpful enough also as well to facilitate. We as a community had to get creative how we would like to see this look out and how it played out there. So we were given, the community was given different Post-its. So for instance, like the courts were about, let's see, like 12,000 square feet. And there was the commercial kitchen, which was 2,000 square feet. So we had to kind of figure out with the 3 groups where they wanted to see each of these items located. They had to figure out a space for the parking, for the courts, for the large playground, for the small playground, for the splash, for the art pieces. So you could see there what the community groups came up with, and you'll see in the next slides how that translates on here. It's part of this process related is also too where we had a survey, and then the community provided in the last farmers market meeting last week. We had over, I think it was 80 surveys that were submitted by community members in terms of where they compared the designs and which they prefer. Like they prefer the overall layout for the first design. If they prefer the parking layout for the first, second, third, they were asked to pick which ones. Where they prefer the spacing of where the bathroom was to be located, those kinds of things, and that was part of the concept design review process. And Jackie has those boards as well, and those were the boards that the community used, like we said at the last farmers meeting last week. And this is what group number 1 came up with. There you could see I'll go over here, sorry. There you can see where the first group wanted the courts side by side. They wanted the classroom computer area here. They wanted the lounge in the middle space area, the commercial kitchen outside. We're also expecting and hoping that you could have kind of like an open commercial kitchen where you could be able to see outdoors as well. They wanted the location of one of the bathrooms here on the bottom. And then they had a parking lot designated right there on that side. All the groups had the parking lot on that side as well. Just in terms of where the parking was located for each, they were in different places. This group number 1 preferred that their parking lot be in the corner right there of 7th and C. And then you see the large playground, and then you have a large green open space area on the right-hand side. This is group number 1. They deferred a little bit in terms of what they wanted to see on this area. They wanted the classroom here, also the music art studio. Their courts kind of differed from the first group where they were more like on top of each other. The stage, they prefer that to be in the middle. The thing is that the stage is going to be movable and mobile, so we'll be able to shift it and move it however we want, how we see fit, depending on the event or the exercise, the activity that's going on there. There they wanted to see, versus the first group, they wanted to see the commercial kitchen on the bottom, facing this side of the area and seeing this public open space. They had the picnic area at the bottom. All 3 groups prefer that their public art piece be in this area. What's cool about that area and what we saw with the community through the tour of the facility was that there's some rail spurs that are located there. And Mr. Jim Snyder was able to tell us that those rail spurs were used back in the day to pack and put some of the fruits that were going to be traversed and shipped to other parts of California. So they were able to use this rail spur all the way to where, I think it's Santa Fe, right? Correct, if I'm correct. So it's pretty cool how that was used in the past, and the community members expressed that they would like to see maybe like a cool art feature associated with that because it's part of the history of Livingston. And there you could see they're like a little bit different in terms of how they had the layout for this parcel here that's vacant right now. But they had a lot more activity going on here, and they prefer that the parking be towards the end of the structure so that people would be able to walk through this area. We're thinking like a little walkway path from here, and they'll be able to access this recreational facility as well. And then this is the third group. The third, similar to the other group, had the courts side by side. This group preferred that there be a lounge here, and they recommended that they have the music art studio in the middle of the facility, picnic area in the bottom as well. Here they wanted the classroom computer lab. Again, there's a parking lot. Their parking lot over here on that 1 acre site is kind of like narrow and kind of allows for people to maneuver in and out and park and drop off their kids. And it kind of seems that it allows a more wider, more horizontal range of the park there for the community to access and use.
So the survey this last one that we took last Thursday night, and if I'm repeating myself, I apologize. But the groups came up with these concepts, and then it went back out to the community again, of which we had an overwhelming response of a lot of them are here tonight that have had the input. And they were able to do a survey that says, okay, we like number 2, but we'd like the parking lot moved here. Or we like number 1, we want to change things around. So really we've gotten a lot of different ideas. They even got to choose what kind of gardening, the types of play structures, and so forth, as you can see up here. Even as far as public art goes, they got to choose, you know, the styles that they liked best. So this is at KDI now. They're looking at it. Hopefully next week when we bring our resolution to you, or next meeting when we bring the resolution to you guys, we'll have even more details to present to you.
And that's all. That concludes our presentation.
Okay, public, does anybody have any questions or comments? Who does?
All those folks right there want to say something.
No. Does anybody have any questions or comments or?
For the record.
My name is Christine Fernandez, and I'm at 2919 Franquette Street. I'm here today to ask for full council support for the new rec center. If you Google Livingston, California, some of the leading articles you'll find today are on how our little city is leading in Merced County for growth. Our city saw a 3% increase in population in 2018. You'll see articles of our housing boom and how our city has become popular with the Bay Area commuters. You'll see articles about an increase in employment opportunities. With such wonderful growth for Livingston, I believe it's important for the rec department services and programs to grow as well. And one amazing opportunity to do so is with the new rec center. For the last few months, I've participated in workshops for the rec center. And when we were discussing the wide range of wish lists for the rec center, one thing was clear: there is a need for a rec center. You heard the people use the word need a lot. We need a newer, safer cooling center for the elderly. We need adult computer classes. My dad can't afford to retire, but his body can't keep working with the physical labor either. He needs some training. We need to give our children all the opportunities to grow with more art and sports programs. Our sports programs are a big part of the rec department and the need for a new rec center. Let's take basketball, for example. Once a child reaches middle school, they have to try out for the team, and so comes one of life's lessons. You're a great player, but you just didn't make the team. So what happens to the student? Only 15 students can make the team. So what happens to the students who is ranked 16th, 17th, or even 30th when they have the heart to play the game, maybe more so than the students ranked first, second, or third? Travel ball? Maybe, if their parents have $500 to $600 to spend and the time to take them to all their games. A more affordable option is rec ball. Then that player has the opportunity to play games weekly during the season, work with coaches, build their skills, play with their peers, and build their teamwork. And maybe by the next year have the opportunity to try out again for the school team. A new rec center with the ability to grow our sports program will definitely help our youth. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? A lot of people worked hard, so here's your chance.
Good evening, Barbara Ratzliff, 1458 Main Street. And looking at this presentation, I can't tell you how nice it would be or what a wonderful thing to plan, and I hope you council people will support this. It's something that is needed, and I can't say enough about it. Your presentation, it's just been wonderful, so please think about it and vote yes.
Thank you.
Hi, Tony Marquez, 2883 Franquette, Livingston. I am a resident. Before I worked for the rec department, my kids participated in the recreation programs. Since Jackie's come on board, I'm lucky enough to work with her now, but back in the past, we didn't. So to give us the rec building and help us with the grant would help. All the boys you saw sitting up here have played for us. They also work for us. everybody that lives here in Livingston, I think except for Raul, all your kids have played for us, haven't they? Yes, we provide more than just sports. We provide a place to go, build your self-esteem. You know, we offer a lot. Jobs. You don't make the team, it's okay, you can come play for us. Everybody gets to play. So we offer more than just sports. We offer arts, dance, and hopefully if we get this building, we'll offer something for the seniors and something for the teenagers who maybe don't belong to a club at school but would like to go somewhere. So, and this is a passion, not just for our department, but hopefully for Livingston, that they'll see the need and that you all see the need that we can provide this for the youth, the elderly, the teenagers, and for anybody else who wants to come in, because if you've ever been into our office, everybody's welcome. Everybody comes and sits down. Each and every one of you have come and sat in our offices, had a conversation, had a prayer, had a hug, a cry, something. We provide a lot to the community than just sports and dance. So I'd like you guys all to think about that when you think about voting for this building, and I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Council. Jose Moran, 945 Parkview Drive, Livingston, California. You know, I've been participating in some of these meetings, and it's probably one of the most attended public meetings or that I've been to. You know, and I could hear the excitement from everybody on those in that room. And I can tell you, my daughter doesn't like to participate in meetings, but that was the one meeting that she wanted to come to and give her 2 cents. And I know the 2 meetings that she was here at, and she was like, no, I want it this way, I want it that way, I like this, you know. I was like, relax, this is a voting process, you know. But she was very excited about it, you know. And although just by listening to the number of the kids and families that we have been serving, 22,000, that's more than our population, you know. Just to think of everything that Livingston has to provide, and the more that we could provide with this. And I can tell you, you know, just from being at the different school sites, those kids have so many different activities that there's not enough room for those kids to practice their activities at the same time. Sometimes, honestly, last year, some of those kids needed it to practice at 5 o'clock in the morning until 9 p.m. because there were so many different groups of kids trying to practice, use the gyms at the schools, you know. So we don't have enough indoor and outdoor places for kids in the community to do their sports, practice their dances, their folklorico and stuff like that. So I'm all in favor of this, and I hope you are too. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Roberto Godinez, 676 Briarwood Drive here in Livingston. I also took part in the whole process here, just seeing the community come together and working together as a unit. It was pretty fun. You get to meet a lot of people. City's growing, so you don't really get to meet everybody. And me coaching personally as our young children here, this is something they definitely need. It helps building their morale, their confidence, just getting better as a player. So I love watching kids develop, and this is something you really need to take serious. Thank you.
Thank you.
Si me permiten, voy a hablar en español porque mi inglés no es muy bueno.
No problem, please do
Mi
so.
nombre es Nicolás Salazar, tengo 49 años viviendo en Livingston. Y este proyecto yo pienso que es muy bueno especialmente para los teenagers y para los que estamos retirados. No hay nada donde divertirse. Yo lo que hago es ir todos los días a tomar café a McDonald's porque no hay más que hacer. Entonces yo pienso que esto es un muy buen proyecto para la ciudad y para los que estamos retirados y para los chavalos. Es todo. Gracias.
Thank you. Mr. Ramirez, can you translate for us?
Yes. Yes, Mr. Salazar, he said that he's very supportive of this effort. First of all, he highlighted that there's really not that much things to do here, that he goes, drinks coffee at McDonald's. But he says that for the youth and for, the retired adults, just everybody in general, that this project itself kind of facilitates an opportunity for everybody to, have something to do. And then lastly, he says that he's been living here in Livingston for like 20 years. 49. How many years? 49. 49 years. Oh, my goodness. All right, let's give him a round of applause, man.
Alex McCabe, 1440 Main Street, Livingston, California. I just wanted to thank the Parks and Rec Committee. You've done a tremendous job. This is really exciting to see events where the community comes together. Thank you, Mr. Aguilar, for spearheading that committee originally and making it a part of our community. I think you can see great benefits not only from this, but from the community art we're seeing around town. I'm excited about the kid programs. As a guy who runs a gang transition program, I'll tell you right now that having a place to belong, having a place to go is very important to keeping our kids away from the gang and away from the gang activities. But now I want to talk to you more about the 4-year-old who wanted to be a ninja when he grew up. I'm really excited about the ninja playground, and I think that'll be a lot of fun even for us adults. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Omar Herrera, 1450 Olive Avenue. I come to you guys as not necessarily born and raised here in Livingston. I come from Modesto, moved here a few years ago. Now being part of the Rec Commission, being a part of this process, and a few other events around town, I really do feel like I'm a part of Livingston. And if you guys could notice, the majority of this, the plan, is obviously the courts, the playgrounds, items and stuff to get the kids more involved physically, more the rec and stuff like that. But if you guys also notice, we have classrooms there. We have a computer lab. This goes beyond just recreational stuff. This also goes beyond having a space where we as a community, we could offer free classes to the people who might not know how to open up a Word document, who might not know how to get online and search for a job, who might not know even how to turn on a computer. So this is way beyond just a recreational space. This is the livelihood of Livingston. And you guys, we keep on building to attract these Bay Area people, these commuters. What about investing in the town and the people that live here? Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Seeing nobody coming forward, we'll now close it to the public. Council? I'm sure Mr. Aguilar wants to say something.
Just real quick. First of all, I want to welcome Gabriel back to Livingston. Welcome home. I'm glad you're here now, back from SoCal. And thank you for helping out Jackie with this process. Also want to give a shout out to the Rec Commission. Thank you everybody for coming in today and showing your support. Eva, Eric, Linda, Roberto, Julio, Christine, and Omar. Thank you, appreciate it.
Yeah, welcome.
Just so you know, so everybody knows, it's been, I know, a lot of work and a lengthy process, and a lot of community participation, which shows the interest and the need for such a place for our kids, for our elderly, for the whole community as a whole. Luckily, we have the opportunity to apply for that grant, and hopefully we're going to be able to get some fund out of that. I'm a big advocate for recreation opportunities, recreation facilities, because I do believe there's correlation between crime and different things, and kids staying busy and work, doing sports and other activities. So I'm a big advocate, and Jackie, and the council knows that I'm supporting this project 100%. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Aguilar. Anybody else wish to comment? Well, I want to just comment that, first of all, there's a lot of work by the community and input. And I think all of us on the council and public, the number one complaint we get from the very young is we don't have enough to do. And on the other spectrum of it, from the elderly saying, we don't have enough to do. So we hear, the people in the middle, we're busy working, doing whatever we're doing, but it's the first part and the second part that we need to do this for. We're fine, we're out there work, whatever, but, so I think it's very important. Because I think we all agree that if their kids are out there in the park, wherever playing, or people are busy, they don't get into any mischief. It's cheaper for us in the city, in the long run, to have them in these facilities than at the other facilities we don't want them to be at. And so the only thing I learned new, I'm all for it, is I didn't know there was such thing as a ninja gym. I'm seeing little kids, little tykes out there with ninja uniforms running around and doing all that kind of stuff out there. It would be kind of cool though, but I think, we need to, I'm glad, thank you guys, Recreation, Parks and Rec, and everybody, and Mr. Aguilar, everybody, you guys did a lot of hard work. We appreciate it. So we look forward to, and hopefully we get the grants. And I know Mr. Ramirez, you want to say something?
Well, let the council finish and then I'll come back.
They already indicated they have no comments at this time.
All right, so basically, our goal is to have everything, packaged and delivered at the very beginning of August. So council, we'll package everything up for you and have it in the next few weeks. And then we'll package it and be ready to go. And, so the second piece to all of this is, sorry, it's falling. Okay. So the second piece to it, and this is what we're working on as we speak, is to have site control of the site, and that's basically the last piece that we have to fit this whole puzzle together. But we have great cooperating partnership with the Livingston Farmers Association. So stay tuned for the next step. But I also want to thank everybody for your hard work and dedication and putting this, because this is what they actually want to see, and this is what is going to give us the maximum points so that we can make it. So the least amount is 200,000. The max that we can ask for is 8 million. So let's see what the cost estimate that's strategic so that we can put our best foot forward. So thank you very much.
I have a quick question. Is this, just for the public to know, is this grant pretty competitive, and how soon will we hear if we were granted any amount?
From what I remember, this grant was awarded before in previous rounds, and I think there was like 250 applicants and about 25% were awarded the grant. In this case, it's like Jose said, it's due in early August. The award should be sometime November, December, early January next year. The actual distribution of grant award should be January 2020, and then it allows the city to finish construction by June 2022. So that's like the time frame for this. And in terms of how likely it is for Livingston, like Jose said, we're working with KDI and PHA. They chose us, work with us, because they thought that that Livingston was a good candidate for this grant, and that's why we're on the high eligibility list. So hopefully we'll receive positive news once we submit it.
Yes, so just to reiterate, our long-term relationship with Connaught and Healthy Living Communities and Public Health Advocates, who he's part of, and then also KDI. One of the other reasons why we think that we're going to be very competitive, besides having them help us through this whole process, is because of our demographics in the area that we chose, but also because our project is different than a lot of other communities. Typically, the majority of the communities that are out there that I know of are looking at outdoor space. We are looking at both indoor and outdoor. And so whatever indoor space, we have to equally have the same amount of space, open space outdoor. So our project is actually unique. And where it's situated and how it's situated, I think also plays into everything. because it's going to feed into our downtown, our multimodal system that we're looking, the attraction of the ACE train, the transit village that we're looking to hope to do. And then the neighboring property in that area, we just finished talking to Visionary Housing about looking at some multifamily housing back in that area, possibly even some joint use on some parking that we'll talk about later. So all those things play into the big picture, and so thank you for all your hard work.
Thank you. Okay, going on to announcements and reports. Supervisor Espinoza.
Good evening, Council. Well, we have a community that's excited about this potential kids park or recreation area. So I fully support it, and whatever I can do on my behalf, you get all my support. So
Can the county write a check?
not today. Grant writer, right? So, well, I'd like to say that I graduated on June 6th from the Untapped, kind of like, I think, former Councilmember Alex McCabe did that as well. And as I stated before, I attended a 6-month program, a cohort of elected officials up and down California, from up as far as north as Calistoga, Antioch, Stockton council member, several from LA, and the mayor of Huron, Rey Leon, which Jose Ramirez knows, and also Alvaro, the mayor of Avenal. So, great, not only do you learn about water policy and the projects around the state and, all that education that you get, but you get a good friendship with council members from all over the states. Plus, you educate them as well on how not to steal our water from the Central Valley, right? So, as you know, right? Okay, and also, so the last one we did in Sacramento, and on June 6th, and where we attended, Mayor Rey Leon from Huron and myself had a meeting with Ana Cavalera, our state senator, and we got her to commit to have one of her assistants have a workshop in her district in the future, and we'll be having a workshop with just for elected officials, just like this board and other boards, school boards, and water districts in her district, about educating more further all our electeds. So I encourage this council to attend the annual conference that's going on every year. So you learn. We think we know a lot of stuff about water. Even after this program, we know we know a lot about more, but we really don't know enough. And so it's very important to learn as much about water projects, water up and down our state, especially with the Delta and all the tunnels that's going on right now with the loss of the water that we're potentially going to have in our county. Also, we passed proposed budget today. We had a board of supervisors meeting this morning. $670 million, and I know that's all. We don't, I think we're $3 million short. So the full budget will be approved in September. So hopefully the revenues will come in and will be even or higher on the positive. So I also, one of the things that I mentioned this morning on my comments was that I get a lot of calls from Livingston residents also too, and from Delhi and different areas, that when our residents go out or other residents in the county attend fiestas, quinceañeras, and all that, the neighbors or somebody calls, the sheriff's department, and they come in and they give you a notice. But if they have to come back, they say, well, we're going to cite you or arrest you, as Councilmember Aguilar knows, right? And so, Garcia. I'm sorry.
It happens.
Just on that side. That's the issue is that, I'm looking into hopefully reviewing the ordinance and, there's no limit on a sound decibel, correct? And like I said, I've been in several family gatherings and they've called the sheriff's department and, that's all, they're just doing their job. They're just doing their jobs, and hopefully the supervisor will agree that, just like Livingston, I think we have a 10 o'clock curfew that, people just want to relax with family and enjoy the music. I know they're not too loud and not too rowdy, but at least even our police department shows up. So hopefully we'll come up with something positive. So we congratulated our county health department on being one of the top 300 accredited health departments in the country. So, our staff did a great job at getting accredited, and I think we're the only one of the few. I'm trying to remember the 18th or 20th in the state. So, from a health department being accredited. So that's pretty good. I also stressed, and we had a lot of citizens that complain about that we need more longer hours in all libraries across the county, and I stress that as well, that I'm supportive of even here in Livingston. We need more longer library hours for our community, for residents to be able to use a computer or go get a book, especially right now in the summer where kids are, probably sitting at home sometimes bored. I'm not bored enough because they use their laptops or phones, but they need to read. So I also today, as part of the agenda, they supported me on appointing a behavioral health appointment. So I think every supervisor gets 3 appointments, and this is my second one. So I'm submitting another appointment after next week and for the next board meeting, and I think it has to be approved also by the Behavioral Health Board as well. So, before I came to the council meeting, I drove around, and I saw on F Street, 1930 F Street, there's a big old bush, a eucalyptus that prevents people from walking. So if you can look at that, please, Jose. When I was mayor, I always had them cut it because people can't walk, and people I think there's 2 trees with bushes that prevent people from walking on the sidewalk. And also the sign from Welcome to Livingston sign on Hammond and Campbell, the Filipino sign was broken in half, and I think Mabuhay is missing, so if we can replace that one with another one. So that's all I have for today, and if there's any questions from the council or the public, I'd be glad to answer if I can.
This item is now open to the public. Any questions?
Just one question, and I think it's something that in regards to the meeting times, has the board consider having them in the afternoon? I know that, well, especially here, a lot of people in the community work in the morning, and they're normally not out, and I've been to a lot of the board meetings, and normally it's packed, but with county employees, but no stakeholders other than a few. I think just having at least some meetings in the afternoon will give stakeholders in the community more of an opportunity to attend some of those meetings. Thanks.
Thank you. I didn't address that, but we usually I can make it in a comment, but we usually, if we want to put it on the agenda for discussion, it has to be 2 weeks ahead. So our next board meeting will be the 9th of July. So I can gladly put it on the agenda and just discuss it. If they don't want to say much, then I'll put it on the agenda to approve, half of the meetings being at 6 or 7 o'clock at night. I know that today was a special meeting, and we ended up from 10 to about 1:30, but because of the budget and the public hearing on hemp. which, that's the one I forgot, was the hemp. We had a public hearing, and they went ahead and approved it, and I'm the only one that voted no on that as well, so. But on the time of the meetings, I'm going to put in the agenda, so hopefully we can get some of them. Because, we encourage people to come to the meetings, but if we don't make it accessible like the city at, 5, 6, or 7 o'clock at night, not much of the community will come, so hopefully they'll listen. And the same thing goes for MCAG. In the past, I proposed that we, move the meetings from 3 o'clock, they're held right now, to at least 4 or 5 o'clock, but I never got any support, so, we have a meeting this Thursday for MCAG, so I'll bring it up in the comments, and in the future, if I can get the support of Councilmember Aguilar, we can at least, get a few votes, and hopefully, it'd be good if we can change it to 4 or 5 o'clock. For me, it's not good, now that I'm a supervisor, the meetings are earlier, right? That's why they say no, but, we got to think we're there because of the public, not because of us, so, in the afternoon is what's better for the public, so thank you very much. Any other questions?
Go ahead and take your time. It's all right, she's already halfway there now. It's all right, she's there.
Catherine Shell Rodriguez, P.O. Box 163. Something's been coming across my Facebook feed that has to be addressed at the county level, and since you're here. For the last 5 years, Castle's tanker base played a vital role in fighting fires such as the Rim Fire, Ferguson Fire, and the Detwire Fire. Now I'm hearing that the Castle tanker base has already been closed. I have 2 questions. Question number 1, is it true that the Castle tanker base has been closed or is closing? And if it is true, why?
Well, I hadn't heard about it, but I'll be glad to check and get back to you next meeting or before then. Okay? Thank you. Is that all the questions?
Yeah,
Council?
thank you.
Thank you.
Staff announcements and reports. We'll start out with police department. Oh, fire department, come on up there. The ones who scared the police department, come on up here.
I could do both police and fire if you wish. It'll be really short on the police side, but we can take care of it. No, I just have a quick announcement. This is the only thing I want to present today is on this Saturday at 10 o'clock, we're going to be dedicating the brand new engine. Our engine, our Type 6, it's engine 696. So please come on out at 10. It's only posted, the high of Saturday is only 96 degrees, so we don't be triple digits. But we will have some water and stuff there in case anybody gets thirsty. So please come out and join the Livingston Fire Department in celebrating our newest addition. And thank you, council members, for making this happen for us. We really appreciate it.
Thank you. Anything else?
That's all I got for you guys.
All right, thank
Short
you.
and sweet.
Wrong one, Chief. Public Works?
Public Works Activities Report.
Good evening, Your Honorable Mayor, council members, members of the public. Anthony Chavarria, Public Works. This evening I'll be presenting our monthly activities report. And what the activity report consists of is projects that Public Works is currently working on or has just recently completed. First slide is cleanup. Cleanup at a dead-end sign repair on Aspen Glen. You can see on the left. On the right was the repair. Street Department took care of that. Frederick Warden Park. We completed our fence project by LMD and park staff. We do apologize to the residents in that area. It did take some time to complete, but we did it with city staff. So we were able to save approximately $5,000 in cost by city staff completing it. LMD crew here planting some plants on the left and cutting out like a mess of roots there. Hamilton F Street valve project. This area we had some valves that were sinking in the middle of that intersection, causing a dip, which most of the motorists were driving around it. This was a Measure V funded project. Can you press play, Chief? Not working? It's spinning. Uh-oh.
Let's go ahead and close the program. Cancel.
We'll skip that one just in case it does. So this is a completed repair at that intersection. It's nice and smooth now when you drive over that. There's no more dip there. Guys did a great job. There was a busy intersection there, so we were able to get in and out fairly quickly. A combination of departments working together to complete that project. We even had our mechanics out there. Streets Department did repair the City Hall parking lot as well. Center line striping on Robin from B Street to F Street, another Measure V project. Another center line striping project on F Street. This went from Robin to Hammett. And also center line striping project on Winton Parkway, funded by Measure V. Storage tank repair project has been completed. A few minor punch list items need to be addressed. Those have been addressed. The tank is back online. Here's a picture of our water and sewer department. Got Tommy Mejia and Ramon working on well number 9, sand filter and differential pressure module repair. Picture of our fleet department, Art. I don't know where Dustin at. He might be on the other side. Okay, here's a picture of our future dog park, Lucetto Park. The area in the green rectangle, enclosed play area, will encompass 10,800 square feet. Why did we pick this area? The park's lightly used. We wanted to develop additional amenities within this part of the town for our residents. Public Works will build a fence, since they did such a good job at Fred Warden to reduce the cost. It'll be equipped with poop stations and water fountains. Well, this is going to be a fun project. Current projects, our water line replacement project is a little more than 90% complete now. The roundabout project has been awarded a roll of construction. A mock roundabout is scheduled to be implemented the week of July 15th and run for approximately 2 weeks to give residents a feel of the flow of traffic. That did cover the storage tank. Project has been completed. Caltrans 99 corridor maintenance. A big thank you to Tom Bridler and his crew for keeping our part of 99 corridor so well kept. New equipment. We got a vehicle on our left is a LMD vehicle that was purchased in the 18-19 fiscal year budget. And on the right, a water and sewer truck. And a new dump truck. Have Tommy Mejia here from Public Works as well, wanting to say a few words.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, Chief, City Manager. Yeah, just to touch a little bit on what Anthony was saying, the new vehicles are needed in our department. They're a benefit. They're going to help us do our job, more efficient, safely, and we appreciate the approval and the addition to our fleet. And we also appreciate Anthony. Just want to say that, he's keeps us motivated, moving in a positive direction. He's done a lot of good things within the Public Works Department, and we just look forward to pushing on.
Thank you, Tommy. City Manager and I were able to participate in the United Way Red Nose Day event. This was my first, but I think the City Manager's participated many times in this event. There he is right there, about ready to get dunked. I think the event was to raise money for backpacks for school kids, I believe.
That's right. I warmed the water.
There I am. Now, the next slide, I'll give you a little bit of background on it before I go to the next slide. So I get a call from the city manager. It was about 2 or 3 months ago. And he goes, Anthony, can you come and pick me up? I go, sure. What are we doing? What do you need to do? Bring some grabbers with you, some bags, buckets. Oh, wow, what are we going to pick up? And he goes, we got a snake to pick up. I go, we got a snake? All right. So I'm thinking somebody lost a pet python or anaconda. That's what's going through my mind. Man, all right, well, I can't chicken out. The city manager called me on it. So if he's willing to go, I got to go. So I pick him up, and we grab the equipment and head out there. And the city manager, man, he takes control of it, wrestles down the snake, and did it in a suit as well. That is a snake, by the way. Might look like a night crawler, but it was a snake. That's the end of my presentation. Any questions?
Any questions of Public Works? Council? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, who's next from staff? Planning, any engineering? Okay, recreation, anything to add? If not, Chief?
Good evening, Mayor and Council, members of the public. Again, Ruben Chavez, Chief of Police for the Livingston Police Department. I mentioned this in one of the last meetings. We had been invited to attend a drone as a first responder program that was up in Ceres, and the picture on the left is our detective actually flying one of the drones. And this is a really interesting program where you can actually remotely have a drone respond to a call with a camera on it so you can see what's going on there. And it's been successful at one of the agencies in Southern California. So we looked at that. We looked at partnering with Foster Farms to help fund the program, but something we're looking at, and I think it'd be beneficial to the city. As you may know, I attended the Washington, D.C. Police Officer Memorial celebration for for an entire week, and it was honoring those who've given the ultimate sacrifice across the nation. In 2018, we lost 163 officers. We were tied for second most in California, 23 in New York, 11 in California, 11 in Florida, and 11 in Texas. And so it was actually really sobering to be part of that. I mean, officers from throughout the world and in the United States attended this. The picture on the left is a Capitol, and our president did a presentation at the event and brought up the family of Corporal Singh from Newman PD, and it was very moving. A picture on the upper right, I brought that because it actually caught me off guard during one of the events. The police car drove by, and it said Livingston Police. And it was actually Livingston, New Jersey police car. And so I thought it was kind of ironic.
You didn't just take it with you?
I was trying.
Livingston on there.
I tried to catch up to them, and it was tough. And then it was very nice. Congressman Costa actually took several minutes out of his very busy schedule to meet me and my family to just talk about some things that he's been doing, and it was neat. It was very neat. He's a super congressman, and he's very supportive of his region and our city. So I appreciate him doing that, taking some time out of his day to do that. It was actually in between two big meetings that he did that. So, and the candlelight vigil was very, very moving. As you could see, this picture was taken from the stage. A friend of mine sent that to me, and it went all the way to the Washington Monument. Everybody had candles, and it was just a really moving event. And if anybody's had a chance to attend, I would really highly recommend being able to attend during that week. We had coffee with a cop, coordinated by Officer Godfrey, and it was a good opportunity to sit down and have some coffee and invite people to chat for a little bit. It was neat to see some of our local residents, Karen and Helen, join us and join some of our dispatchers, enjoy some coffee, and I want to thank Starbucks for hosting the event. Also, we had some heavy hitters from Sacramento Region Board of Education that came by, and we actually got a chance to talk to them and talked about our maths program. So it was pretty neat to talk about what's going on here in Livingston, and hopefully plant some seeds about how the program is successful, and maybe that's something they can take back to Sacramento. I attended the League of Cities Community Services Policy Committee meeting last Thursday, Friday. As you know, I'm on the committee for the California Police Chiefs Association. And basically, it was the day after the governor passes the budget, so they had a little budget summary. Again, the budget, I think it's like $160-something billion for California, but they highlighted there's actually $20 billion of surplus that they basically devoted to paying down the debt, PERS and schools and other general debt. So that's nice. They did say, prepare for a downturn. That if we had a recession for 3 years, the state would lose about $70 billion. So they are putting money away, which is good. One of the main issues that the policy committee dealt with is homelessness. That's a priority throughout the state. Now, we're fortunate here in Livingston that we don't have that significant of a problem. We do have a small problem, but larger cities like LA, San Francisco, San Jose, San Diego, there's actually some ballot measures going before vote that any city larger than 330,000 people will have to have a safe area for people to camp at. Along that goes with security issues and things like that, management issues. There's two bills also, New Beginnings Work Program that allows cities to employ homeless at a fair market rate. And then also the Animal Shelter Vet Clinic, which is another bill coming through that requires homeless shelters to build a clinic for the pets of those that are homeless, and a veterinary clinic to go along with that. Many people are homeless in larger cities, have pets, and they can't get into shelters unless they have an opportunity to bring their animal with them. SB 330 housing crisis, something that the League of Cities is basically not supporting, and is encouraging cities across the state to not support that. What it's going to do, if it does pass, it's going to prevent cities from basically allocating a specific number of parking spots for new construction, as well as basically removing some of the fees, impact fees that are collected. Basically, they're going to remove some of those in an effort to try to get more housing development. So if it's something that does pass, something that will definitely impact us. SB 266, PERS disallowed compensation. Basically, currently, if there's an employee that retires and there's some basically miscalculations on their final salary totals, and it's something that the city actually made some errors, that the city will be basically liable for those. So once the employee retires, if the PERS discovers that at a later time, the city will actually have to pay that employee directly for that compensation. AB 516, this one really caught my attention. This is basically, if this passes, it's going to basically not allow cities to impound vehicles that are on the street for whether they're expired, whether they're parked for more than 72 hours and basically abandoned, whether the several different reasons that we will not be able to tow vehicles. And so I think it's an effort to try to support homelessness. However, it will impact our city. The fact we will have vehicles on our streets that are basically an eyesore to the community, causing some issues. We will not be able to tow those vehicles. So another one that they're deadly against, basically voting against for that. And then lastly, the Weber and Caballero bill, use of force policy. Basically, there's two competing ballot measures that talk about identify the use of force. One is Weber basically makes it required use of force, basically necessary use of force, and the other one is reasonable use of force. And so those are competing. The Weber bill basically looked like it didn't have enough support, so they're basically combining the bills and using the Caballero verbiage for the definition of use of force. We had our high school graduation last year in our town, and our police department helped support that with security, and we had some fine, outstanding local residents who graduated. And following that evening was our Sober Grad program, which we staff and provide a bingo game with $1,000 worth of prizes. Another fun time. Just big shout out to Deanna, Maribel, Kristen, Emma, a lot of folks that came out to volunteer to help with that event. And the CHP did grace us. It is a Sober Grad, so they came out later on to basically show the support in an effort to try to keep the youth here on the right track and not drinking and driving. We just finished up a large detail, the U.S. Open, 119th. It won't come back to Pebble Beach until 2027. So I want a big thank you, big shout out to our SOAR advisors, Officers Valdivia, Vieira, Godfrey. Godfrey is one of our advisors, and his wife, and then Detective Barkus. They went out there for the entire week from Sunday to Sunday, and they worked extremely hard. They're up at 3 in the morning getting the kids out ready, breakfast on post by 5 o'clock in Pebble Beach, and they're on post until 8 p.m. at night. Again, it's something that the kids actually really enjoy doing that. They work very hard, but again, it's not an employment. It's basically donating their time, and in return, the organizer will write a donation check to the post. So I want to thank all of those folks for their involvement. And this is some of the pictures from the actual detail in front of the lodge. Some of our explorers, and then as I mentioned, they worked so hard that we actually put like some cots out there in case you needed to take a quick nap during the day. They also worked at the Gallo event, which was last month. The Gallo family event, huge carnival, and we were the largest post out there supporting the event. And again, they received a donation from the Gallo for participating in that. And lastly, the explorers help out a lot for the actual graduation. Those that are not graduating, obviously, but they really help out a lot, keep folks in certain areas. Last week, we had a law enforcement torch run that came through town. Again, this is a statewide event. It will come late in this Friday is the opening ceremony at UC Davis, and then Saturday starts the actual competition. But we were the last leg of this run, and we ended up at our department, and the last leg involved a lot of department members as well as the California Highway Patrol, which joined us during that leg. So we have our team here. Big shout out to Corporal Kirk for being our coordinator, our organizer for that event, and I want to thank our city manager for running with us this time. And it was neat to see his involvement with the youth. And we hosted a barbecue for all the runners, and we have the world famous Chaka who did the barbecuing for that, and everybody really enjoyed that event. This is connected to one of the events I'll show in a second. We attended the Sikh awareness event up in Ceres, and they wanted us to basically announce that there's some free community health screenings that are occurring in Modesto on June 22nd. I know it's a little bit north of us, but again, if it's a free event and people might be in that direction anyways, I told them I'd give that promotion for them. Also on Wednesday, June 26th, 5:30 in this room, Chief Baraka Carter and myself will have a town hall meeting here, and we're talking about public safety and how we work hard to keep the community safe, and we'll be happy to answer questions and provide some safety tips. So I encourage everybody to attend again Wednesday, the 26th, in this room here. This is a Sikh awareness event that I was talking about. Again, this is some community organizers, Western Singh Foundation, and they had some speakers, Jakarta movement, that presented a presentation on bullying. And I really enjoyed the presentation, and I noticed that the picture on the right actually has a lot of the Punjabi Sikh residents in our city and across the state that are involved in politics. And while our mayor was not there, he was there in spirit, I know. So, well, you do got to get Councilmember Gangadeep's picture up there. So, again, representing the city and the police department. And again, thank you, City Manager, for attending that event with us. For those who know Mrs. Valdez from Campus Park, she just retired after 30 years serving the district, dedicated to the district, and she was actually very moved, and all the kids lined up and gave her kind of a gauntlet, and she came through the gauntlet, and it's her last day. We had 2 officers recognized at the MAD recognition luncheon that was held up in Dublin last week. Sonny, the police horse, and Officer Joe Cruz were recognized for a DUI arrest they made here in town, and they actually presented them with a halter for Sonny, and it was actually a pretty big thing. They showed the video from the news clippings that came here out of Fresno, and then Officer T.J. Griffin was awarded for the DUI arrest that he makes in our community over the last year. So. And lastly, Officer Godfrey's, he's a bicycle trained officer, and he actually went to the train-the-trainer course, and it's coordinating the department's bicycle unit that will be up and running here in the near future. As you know, post requires all officers to attend a post-certified bicycle school, and he will be the instructor for that, and we'll have bicycles running around the city and around special events. So it's exciting to have that, and I want to thank Officer Godfrey for that. And with that, I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Public, any questions of the police department? Council? Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you.
Okay, moving on to legal. Any comments? Okay, Mr. Ramirez.
Yes. Mr. Mayor and council and the public, there's a few items that I need to cover. Try to go in quick order. The first thing I would just kind of like to give a quick update just on housing development here in town so that everybody is up to speed. Sun Valley Estates, they have nearly about 10 unfinished lots they're currently still under construction. Over at the Beck Community Builders, they're pretty much on their last home, so they're pretty much full build out. WPD Homes, there's construction going on 8 lots, which leaves about 8 more lots which is a total about 16 lots out there. And then Legacy Homes, they finished about 33 lots, and they have about 141 lots still to go. Bright Homes, they just finished 3 model homes. They'll be furnished over the weekend so folks can start going out there and looking at their model homes. So that leaves them with about 61 lots for their home construction. I mentioned just a teensy bit that Carol Ornelas from Visionary Homes was out here this weekend. We've been talking to them. They looked at a couple of sites here on town. They're very interested in building some multifamily and possibly even some senior housing. We're still kind of talking a little bit about that. They needed to get site control. They're looking at talking to the property owners so that we can move forward. We're looking at partnering with them, looking at going after some home grants and some other housing grants that might be out there. They have really nice projects, so stay tuned to that. Another item is, I need council to kind of let me know what day they're available. As you know, the big day has come. We talked a lot about Emerald Textile Services coming into town, and so they're full speed ahead. We're going to be having a groundbreaking ceremony. Again, this is the firm that processes industrial laundry for different hospitals, et cetera. And so that means a lot of jobs for our community. So I really want to thank staff because we've been doing a lot of heavy lifting to make sure to guide them and to help them maneuver. And so the day has come, and the date that they're looking for, the week that they're looking at having their groundbreaking ceremony is the week of July 8th. So don't know what date might work, but I really would like to see all the council out there and the community out there to support them, because I believe that this is only the beginning. I think that they have the capacity and the will to even expand further, and so that might mean another 100 jobs, who knows? So these are really good paying jobs, and they're going to have a state-of-the-art facility here. This is going to be the showcase of the West Coast, and they're actually going to make Livingston the headquarters. So all that has developed over this time frame. So any idea, they want to have the groundbreaking at 11 with lunch at 12. I just need to know whether it's the 8th or the 9th or the 10th or the 11th of July. So if you can look at your calendars, please. That facility is the old Ferenius building that's right there off of Campbell and Hammett. And of course, public is open to come as well. And so let's see if we can come up with a date. Supervisor? July 8th. So that week of July. Yeah.
How about the 12th?
How about the July 8th, right? You can pick any of those days during that week.
Yeah, July 8th works.
Yeah, no, but.
Okay, we got July 8th and we got July 12th. What do we got? What else?
12 works for me too.
Huh?
The 12 works.
12?
Sorry, buddy.
12 work for everybody but you. Okay. Okay.
Okay, so July 12th or July 8th?
12.
Okay, July 12th.
11 o'clock.
Okay, got it. The other one is, the last item that I have on my to-do is we need to schedule the special council meeting. Is the 24th or the 25th work best for you all?
For me, I'll let you decide because.
And we can either start at 5:30 or 6. The week of the 24th, we need to have a special council meeting. So is it the 20?
Yeah, next week, yeah.
Yeah, either
So
Tuesday or Wednesday or.
So basically, it'll be finishing up the budget workshop and then adopting the budget.
And a couple other items, yeah.
So next week?
So 25th work for you? It's a Tuesday, 6 o'clock or 5:30?
5:30?
The 24th is,
Okay.
is a Monday. Next week.
The 25th.
25th is Tuesday.
Yeah, 25th at 6.
Because then we'll be out of money.
We have to adopt a continuous resolution and all this other stuff. So the 25th at 6?
We have another day? Do you have a Monday or Wednesday or Thursday? You won't be for the whole week?
Yeah, you'll be gone until July 3rd or 4th, so you won't be here for the next council meeting either.
So do you, okay, then, how about you?
You guys want to have it this Thursday?
You want to have it this Thursday? We can do that.
This Thursday.
We just
No,
got,
we can't do it. We can't do Thursday.
huh?
We can't do Thursday.
We can?
We can't do that.
Friday?
Friday?
So just to let council know why we need to have a special council meeting. We need to have a special council meeting so that we can adopt a continuous resolution, make sure to have the third workshop that we promised that we were gonna have for the public so that they can comment on the budget. And then I also had a request to continue the LMDs and BADs, and so we need to address
So
these.
we're continuing the 5 and 6?
That's the request, yeah.
Who
So
made
that's
that-
why we're
who made the request?
Mayor Pro Tem.
Oh, you did? Okay. Yeah, 6 and 7, okay.
So is the 25th work, or do you guys want to do Friday? We can even do it, we only need about an hour and a half, and we can even do it over lunch, whatever you want.
Oh.
Okay, so we'll call you guys tomorrow, and we'll go from there.
Okay.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Okay, and then, is that it, Mr. Ramirez? Okay, council members' announcements, reports, Mr. King?
Yeah, I attended the mosquito abatement today, and they said if nobody requests them, they will not spray Livingston. So they have not one single call. Yeah, so I asked them to come on the July 4th, so they could spray at the festival. Yes, thank you. Yeah, they said nobody called, so they haven't sprayed. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, they said nobody called them. I was just there today. I don't know, I'll ask her again. Thank you. Yes, please.
Okay. Councilwoman Batista, any comments? Mr. Aguilar?
Just a couple things. Just same thing as our captain said earlier. Reminder this weekend, Saturday at 10, the dedication ceremony at the fire station, and also like a small open house. Anybody wants to go and check out the fire station and the other piece of equipment. So hopefully we get a good participation from the council, and the community goes out there and spend some time there, look at the new equipment. Also, I'll be attending the MCAG governing board meeting this Thursday. And I also wanted to direct staff to look into the process of starting a sister cityhood with, I know I've talked about this in the past, with the municipality of Churincio, Michoacan, Mexico. The reason for that specific municipality is because there's a lot of people in town that reside or have family members residing over there, first, second, third generation Mexican Americans that have ties to that community. It's a large community here in Livingston, so I would like to start the process, or at least get some information on the next council meeting regarding that process. I know Diego, I know you have you talked to the Presidente Municipal? Okay, so I think we're gonna have the Presidente Municipal, which will be like the mayor, basically come and introduce himself, and then we could start that process. That'll be great. And that's pretty much it.
Okay. Mayor Pro Tem? Okay, I also don't have anything, so we'll move on to public hearings. Item number 5, this is a public hearing. Council to consider directing staff to prepare ordinance amending Title 5, Chapter 2, 3, 4, 5, and 7 for Livingston Municipal Code, expanding opportunities regarding cannabis business. This item will be continued at a later date. We're not putting any date on there. So, but because it was listed and posted, we will have a public hearing. So, Mr. Hatch?
Thank you. Yeah, after we had advertised and mailed for the public hearing, the applicant had Mr. Dwight Larks had requested additional time to look at his proposal, maybe alter it somewhat, and come before the council with new information. And so we've already set up this as a public hearing item, so I would recommend that the council open the public hearing, take any comments that people are prepared or wish to give, and letting them know that we will have a full public comment period at the continued public hearing, and then can leave the public hearing open, but continue it to a date certain. And the suggested date by Mr. Larks is July. He needs at least until July 16th to be prepared. So that date or any council meeting shortly thereafter.
Okay.
That's
This
it.
item is open to the public. Does anybody wish to comment? If not, then it is closed to public. Council, any comments? To me, I just have a question for legal. This item was denied by the Planning Commission, is that correct?
I think the recommendation was not to move forward with an amendment to our code.
So depending on which changes the applicant's requesting, because it was at an appeal, correct?
No, this is not an appeal. It automatically, sorry.
Okay.
It's not an appeal. The ordinance automatically comes to you. The council is the recommending body, and then the deciding body is yourselves, the council.
Okay, if he's proposing changes to what the Planning Commission, I think it needs to go back to the Planning Commission.
It depends on the type of changes he's proposing.
Yes.
Since he has not brought that forward, I can't comment on whether it's significant change or just
To me,
a
if it's
minor.
significant change, or any changes, he needs to propose, in my view, changes to the staff. It's a significant changes. It needs to go back to the Planning Commission
correct.
before it comes to the City Council. Because I don't believe that we should do an end around the Planning Commission. So that's my view, but it's up to the council.
I had the same concern. If it's going to be some changes, then it should, the planning board should look at it once again and then make a recommendation based on those changes.
Yeah, without knowing what those changes are, I
Yeah.
can't evaluate it at this time.
That's why I had said earlier that I'm not going to put a date on it, because I think it needs to be reviewed by staff and then make a determination to see if it needs to go back to Planning Commission.
We can, this is where legal can jump in, but the main reason to continue it to a date certain is because we have a mailed notice and a published notice out there for today. And so we need to continue it to a date certain to keep it alive. We can continue it again if they're not ready, if we're not ready. And, but if we do have to.
Well, let me get the legal opinion.
Yeah.
So
If they're proposing ordinance changes, then we can't really continue it until I think it needs to go back to the Planning Commission
So that's
before it comes to us, because we can't continue on something we don't know what they're proposing.
So really what you're continuing, the item before you, or the item with W before you, is to direct staff to work on an ordinance amendment.
Right.
Correct, Randy?
Yes.
Your current municipal code requires, we can't just work on an amendment, it requires, if it's a initiation of the amendment, to come before the city council, first going to the planning commission, then the city council, in order to get the authority for staff to work on the amendment. And I think that's the item that's coming before the council. The reason for the continuance, or for the request for continuance, I don't know the reason, other than the email that was supplied, or that was provided, that the applicant would like more time in order to prepare for the council meeting, so I don't really know what the reason was. Regarding what you mentioned, Mayor, of not putting a date, that is definitely the council's choice. The council could table the item. The only consequence would be that if the item did come back, let's say if nothing's really changing, the applicant just needed more time, it would just have to be renoticed.
That's right.
So the staff would just need to do that.
That's one of the reasons is I don't want to put a date on there. Because if you say July 17th or whatever date, and there's significant changes or it's not ready, then I don't want to put it on there and then go through this again and then continue it again. I'd rather just have it continued until everything is done. I don't want it to be continued again. And if it's significant changes, I know you can bring it to us, but my view, it needs to go back to the planning commission.
Well, you can certainly table it, and then when it's ready, we'll re-advertise.
Okay. All right. So council, any comments? Yeah, so we will continue the item at no specified date.
Okay.
And if you guys work it out, then post it and do whatever you got to do, so.
At this point, staff was given direction, given the item was on
Well,
there, it's getting.
it was my view,
Okay.
and I believe Mr. Aguilar's view, but you may need to pull the rest of the council.
And we could get a motion to just continue,
Yeah.
to table the item, I think would be the
Okay.
proper motion.
All right, I'll make the motion to continue this item to to table this item to a non-specified date.
I second it.
Okay, may I have roll call, please?
Roll call. Councilmember Baptista?
Yes.
Councilmember Aguilar?
Yes.
Councilmember King?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Garcia?
Yes.
Mayor Samra?
Yes.
Motion approved by a vote of 5-0.
All right, thank you. And the other two items, I believe, because they were listed, we still have to open them. So this is item number 6, is the proceeding under the Landscape and Lighting Act of 1972, street highways. I believe there was a request to continue this item to another date.
Yes, but we will present tonight.
Yeah, go ahead and present, please.
Sure. Good evening, Honorable Mayor and members of the council. City Council has previously approved the formation of Landscape Maintenance Assessment District Number 1, along with a methodology of applying an assessment to properties within the district. There are a total of 26 zones of benefit, consisting of residential and commercial properties. The levy and collection of these annual assessments is for the maintenance of various lighting, landscaping, and park improvements within the zones. Staff has worked with Wildan Financial Services. Excuse me, let me start out the right way. Mickey Ashley, Wildan Financial Services, 27368 Temecula. Staff has worked with Wildan Financial Services to assist in the preparation of the annual engineer's report. The details of how the project are assigned into benefit zones and the rates for each benefit zone are included in the engineer's report. The total proposed assessments for this year is $693,000 approximately. On June 4th, the City Council adopted resolutions, initiated the proceedings, declaring intent to levy, preliminarily approving the engineer's report, and setting the date and time of today's public hearing. This action requests the City Council open the public hearing to receive testimony. There's one resolution before the council this evening to approve the levy and collection of assessments for the City of Livingston Landscape and Lighting Maintenance Assessment District Number 1. Upon conclusion of the public hearing, city staff recommends that council adopt the resolution approving the engineer's report and setting the annual levy assessments for fiscal year 2019-20, or continue it if you wish to do so.
Thank you.
I'd be happy to answer any questions that the city council may have.
Thank you. This item's open to the public. Any comments? If not, we'll close it. Council, any comments? I believe we have a recommendation to continue. Mayor Pro Tem, do you wish to set the date for a continuation? You can just make a motion to continue and then.
Yeah, I'll make
Yeah,
the
there
motion
is
to
a-
continue for the second,
July 17th?
or the 16th?
The se-
Actually, the
16th, rather, okay.
Yeah,
So if you can share with the council, there's two things that I would like you to do tonight. One is if you can go through the methodology so that our council members are familiar. How is it that we come up with these costs? And then two, the actual time frame drop due, when we actually have to adopt this, so.
Sure. I'd like to start with the last question first. It needs to be, get to the county the early part of August, so there is some time. The methodology, the way it works is there's the different departments, for this case, Public Works Department, they come up with a budget for the cost within each zone, and then there's so many, we call them EDUs, equivalent dwelling units. So let's say there's 122 houses within that particular zone, and the costs are 122,000, and it's so much, just divided by the number of units. And that's basically the way the methodology works to figure out the rates.
It goes a little further than that, from the standpoint that you actually have an engineering eyes that actually analyze and look at the numbers themselves. So they're not arbitrary numbers. It's based on actual cost of service. So once you look at the yearly budget and the cost of whatever it is that's being serviced, so the city can't charge more. It has to be what the cost of service. And so based on that and some analysis, then there's a recommendation through Wilden that then flows up from there, and the actual booklet that was handed out outlines the different assessment and legal descriptions, et cetera, et cetera. I don't know if Sanchez, if you wanted to share anything else.
Yes, Jose, just also just on the way, maybe a little clarification, or background. I know we also have newer council members here. Can you just go through the process of creating? Because I know these districts, we didn't just create them and impose a fee ourselves. No. These districts were created by the landowner, or the landowner agreed to create districts. The rates on here, they're not just arbitrarily created every year. There was a set amount that it started with, and then certain zones have CPI adjustments allowed for when they were created. So those are the adjustments that are done. Usually you can go up to a certain amount, and then you could go to your CPI adjustments. You can't go above that. Some zones, I believe, there's no CPI adjustment because when established, that didn't get placed in there. So there is a cap. It's not just completely arbitrary or anything like that. There is a cap. And I know that in conversations with the Mayor Pro Tem, it's just more getting comfortable, I believe, with the kind of how these are established, the methodology, why the rates are increasing the way they are. So I think it's just a little more time to study what the actual report was. But again, that's more of the history of how these things get created.
And the districts, generally the ones that have the CPI increases that are allowed, those were generally formed since around, I think around 2003 and on. And prior to that, you've got the static rates for the older parts of the city. So the ones that have the CPI increase, we go up to that amount each year. And and we also look at how much is in the fund balance for each zone to see if there's any excess. If there's way too much money, then we consider that. So the rates are capped. We can't go any higher than the ones that were approved.
Yes. And then I would like to ask our Public Works Director to talk about where the funding for these special, for the LMDs, some examples so that the council and the public are familiar.
Yeah, as far as the part of the Public Works participation in creating these budgets is our operation and maintenance of all the LMDs and salaries as well. It takes a lot of manpower to take care of all 26 LMDs.
Yeah, but what is it that they do so that way they have an idea? What
everything from trimming to cutting to chemical application to transplanting to new renovation projects. We develop a 5-year capital improvement renovation project as well. And within those 5 years, we have to, vegetation only has a lifetime, so it has to be replaced every so often. Trees, plants as well. So as part of some of the budget, we create the CIP, it's called the renovation plan, and that's where a lot of this money goes as well, to enhance the aesthetics around the developments.
Thank you.
Okay. We do have a motion on the floor for continuance. Do I have a second?
Yeah, I'll second it.
Okay, I have a second by Councilmember Kane. May I have roll call, please? Would you restate your date again, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem? The 16th. Okay, to the 16th. May I have roll call, please?
Roll call. Councilmember Baptista?
Yes.
Councilmember Aguilar?
Yes.
Councilmember King?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Garcia?
Yes.
Mayor Samra?
Yes.
Motion approved by a vote of 5 out of
And
0.
thank you. Moving on to public hearing. This is item number 7. This is the proceedings under the Benefit Assessment Act of 1982, Government Code Section 547003.ATL sequence. And go ahead, please.
Yes, the City Council has previously approved the formation of the benefit assessment districts. These are known as 1982 Act districts. They were formed with a similar methodology as the lighting and landscaping districts. There's a total of 18 districts of benefit consisting of residential property. The levy and collection of the annual assessments is for the maintenance and operation of various drainage, detention basin, and street improvements within each of the districts. And just like with the lighting and landscaping districts, staff has worked with World End Financial to determine the budgets and help with the rates. The details of how the parcel is signed into benefit districts and the rates for each district are included in the engineer's report. The total proposed assessments for this fiscal year is approximately $177,000. On June 4th this year, the council adopted resolutions initiating the proceedings, declaring intent to levy, preliminarily approving the engineer's report, and setting the date and time of the public hearing. This is the public hearing. The action requests the city open the public hearing. The city council open the public hearing to receive testimony. There's one resolution before the council this evening to approve the levy and collection of assessments for the city's drainage and benefit assessment districts. Upon conclusion of the public hearing, the city staff recommends the council adopt the resolution approving the engineer's report and setting the annual levy assessments for fiscal year 2019-20, unless the council would prefer to continue. I would be happy to answer any questions the city council may have.
Okay, this item it's a public hearing. It is open to the public. Anybody wish to make a comment?
What benefits do the benefit assessment districts provide? And what does that levy provide to the public?
I'll start to answer it. When the developments were proposed, there were requirements that certain drainage improvements were put in, and those are city improvements, and those have to be maintained. And but I think expert.
No, he hit the nail right on the head there. That's for drainage. For drainage, all the storm water, water runoff, nuisance water, it's all for drainage.
Good.
That's keeping maintenance, keeping the lines clean. Our truck, you'll see it out cleaning lines and.
Good. Thank you. Any other questions from the public? If not, this item is now closed to public. Council, any comments? If not, I believe, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, you wish to continue this item as well?
Yes.
If you do, would you like to make a motion?
I'll make the motion to continue it for July the 16th.
I have a motion by Mayor Pro Tem. Do I have a second? I will second it. May I have roll call, please?
Roll call, Councilmember Baptista?
Yes.
Councilmember Aguilar?
Yes.
Councilmember King?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Garcia?
Yes.
Mayor Samra?
Yes.
Motion approved by a vote of 5 out of 0.
Thank you. Moving on to citizens' comment. This session of the agenda allows members of the public to address the city council on the item not otherwise on the agenda. Members of the public who recognize the mayor should come forward to the lectern and identify themselves. Comments are normally limited to 3 minutes according to the state open meeting laws. No action will be taken by the city council this evening for items which are on the agenda. The any members of the public will be provided an opportunity to address the city council. Each item is brought up for discussion.
Good evening, council. Jose Moran, 945 Parkview Drive, Livingston, California. A couple of things, and I had to write them down before I forget them and run out of time. First was this week, I was able to contact our animal service, animal control officer, and I found out that we don't take, or they don't take calls for cat issues, only for dog issues, which didn't make any sense. I mean, anyway, so after I spoke to her, she said that this is something that has been under regulations for about 7-8 years. So maybe if you can educate me on what's going on. I mean, how come we're not taking calls for cats? I mean, it's not that I'm tired of taking calls from citizens around the city to take care of cats, and then I end up taking them to the shelter. But anyways, so I was just wondering about that, and then what can we do as city council to expand that into calls for cats as well? I mean, I understand some of the issues, because cats are like kind of free roaming and stuff like that, but there's abandoned cats and stray cats and other issues that we can deal with. And then also I wanted to ask, I hadn't had an opportunity yet to speak with the city manager about this, but I wanted to talk to council about considering a TNR program, which is a trap, neuter, and release program for homeless cats. I call them homeless cats, which I think, since we're not doing anything about cats, I mean, we're just allowing them to reproduce, and cats normally have about at least 1 to 2 litters per year. So imagine if we have 100 stray cats right now, in a year, you multiply that times 5 or 10, that's 500 cats. I mean, so we're not doing anything about it. I mean, other than hopefully, they're just causing more problems. So if we look into a TNR program, which at least 30 different cities and counties in California have a program similar to this. Stanislaus County has Project X, which is you take your cat, no questions asked, they'll cover it. They even let you borrow a cage to trap it. I mean, because in the long run, they end up saving more money. It's my understanding that if me as a citizen from Livingston take a cat or a dog to the shelter, it's roughly about $120 cost to the city. Okay, so and if we take it to get to the vet, it probably costs us like $40. So we're saving money. Thank you.
Chief, do you wish to respond?
Yeah, thank you, Jose, for that question, and you did a good job today at the board meeting. I was watching it live. Didn't have a chance to go down there, but basically, dogs and cats are 2 separate categories. You don't regulate cats. You don't license them. They're feral. It's not like a dog where you have to have it licensed. You have to keep it locked up. Cats basically roam around, and that's why we do that. If you have somebody's pet running around and you end up trapping it, you know, then you can run into some legal issues. And so, and like Mr. Moran said, anytime we take a cat into the shelter, it costs us at least $100. There have been times where we actually had somebody brought in a mother with like five kittens, newborns, and you take it there and you end up paying $600, and that's direct cost to the city and to our taxpayers. And you know, I do not see it where we can benefit by responding to calls and trying to catch cats and trying to take them in. Again, that's something that's not regulated. They're not required to have licenses, and that's the policy. That's the policy we've had for quite a while. So, any questions anymore?
Okay, thank you, Chief. Anybody else for citizen comment?
Robert Wallace, 1697 Spruce Court. Just one quick comment for the mayor and council. When are you going to get the air conditioner fixed now that we're going to have our 2 hottest months coming?
We want you quickly out of here.
No, that's not true. We are doing a assessment of all of our equipment, and air conditioner replacement here in City Hall and everywhere else is one of the items we're looking at. We don't even want to just get it fixed. We're trying to get them replaced for energy conservation too.
Okay.
Yes, just to elaborate a little further that the mayor mentioned. So we're talking about all the facilities because they're really old units. We're talking about the museum, we're talking about City Hall, we're talking about this facility, we're talking about the police department, the fire department. So all of those are slated for replacement.
Okay. Then my second question would be for the city manager. You and I have talked about the general plan being at our 20-year
Yes.
due frame to get it done by law. What is the deadline if we don't, when does it have to be completed? I know it's supposed to be done this year, but what is the deadline by the state to have it finished?
Well, so a little bit of back history. As you know, we're currently working on off of the 1992, 97? I get that confused.
99.
99.
Yeah.
Okay, well, there we go. Okay, so the 99 one. We were at the 2008. Okay, so right now what we're currently doing is we actually, in the budget, I believe we're slating about, it's going to cost about $600,000, so we're budgeting half now and half next year. A part of that is that we also have to address the master plans. So we have to set some money aside for the master plans, okay? And then the housing element, which is part of the general plan, which that one is we have to actually update it quite often. I believe it's 4 years or 5 years.
We just updated it last year. It's good for 8 years.
So 8 years. So it's gone up to 8 years. So so it is slated to get. We're going to start on it this fiscal year, this next fiscal year.
Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Alex McCabe, 1440 Main Street, Livingston, California. So I come to you today as a concerned citizen, and I first want to say that being pro-justice doesn't mean you're anti-law enforcement. Here in Livingston, I think we have some of the greatest law enforcement officers I've ever had the privilege to meet. True public servants who I know are going to be the first in there to do their best to protect us and to keep us safe, and I respect them and I admire them. That being said, I'm ignorant. I sometimes need to be talked to like I'm a small child or a golden retriever for me to understand things. And so recently, there's been acts of what I would call violence against members of our community perpetrated by law enforcement that may be fully justified and with the rights of the officer. Me as a civilian, I don't understand these things and I don't know these things. So what I would like to ask of you is to educate me and educate the public. We already do a great job with our program for our high schoolers. It's one of the best in the country. I've heard it said multiple times. But we really don't do anything for us adults. And us adults are really the ones who are interacting on a regular basis with law enforcement here in Livingston. Right now, we're lucky that we have a law enforcement officer on our council. And I think it would be great, Councilmember Garcia, if you would consider helping in this effort to educate the public on really proper interaction between the public and officers so we have a better understanding. The city of Merced does what's called the Citizens Police Academy. So that's a program where they educate the public on what officers do and how they're supposed to interact. Recently in Livingston, about 30 days ago, a resident was in a verbal confrontation with an officer. He had his hand clenched in a fist, and he made a step forward of about an inch. The officer then threw this young man to the ground, and then the other officer came up. They both put their body on him, causing bodily harm. I've seen the photographs of the bruises on his body. He was detained, but not charged with anything. It's kind of weird. Usually you would think that if someone did something to warrant being thrown to the ground.
30 seconds, Mr. McCabe.
30 seconds? Gosh, okay. Please educate us. We did a Freedom of Information Act request for the video. The video was not given. Nothing was told to the public. What was told to the public is that if you have a fist, an officer has the right to knock you down, detain you. I don't think that's the truth, so I want to be educated. I want to know that there's not a cover-up going on in Livingston and that our officers were justified in putting someone on the ground. Educate me, please. Thank you.
Thank you.
Catherine, there was a mic in the back.
I got a little adrenaline going.
There you go.
I'm going to make a follow-up. I have members of my family who are in law enforcement and have been in law enforcement. So I try to take a middle position on things, many things, and I do support our law enforcement. Here is what is bothering me. It is my understanding that one of the reasons for having the body cameras is so that there could be more transparency and that whenever a police officer might have been in a position to where there is another video of an incident and then you have the camera, the one video that might be out in the public tells one side of the story and the officer's body camera tells another part and will exonerate the officer. We've seen cases on the news where there has been one video out in the public and the department in question has released the body camera that exonerated the officer. In this case, it was my understanding that the city originally agreed to release the body camera footage as soon as the investigation was completed. Then, after the investigation was completed, the city sent a letter reneging on that promise. That is what bothers me. If you tell me or someone else in the community, as soon as our investigation is done, we'll give you a copy so that you can see what really happened. And then after the investigation is over, you renege on that promise. Even if that officer is 100% justified in his actions or his or her actions, it gives the awful impression that there is something being hidden. And that is what is troubling me as an advocate for transparency. First,
30 seconds.
First, you're told we'll release the camera footage as soon as the investigation is over. Then we changed our mind, we're not going to do it. As an advocate for transparency, that bothers me.
Thank you.
Donna Duffy, 1616 Sapphire Drive. I am going back to Jose. As a person in a community that has cats and dogs, when I spy a cat that has been hurt or otherwise disabled, I want to be able to call somebody to help remove it. It's not something that I personally, unless it's my cat, would do. And so I would like, even though I agree with the chief's rounding up cats thought, not our place. If we have an injured pet or an injured animal, our animal control should respond to that and help however it needs to be helped. My opinion. Second thing, I come from a community up in the Bay Area that has a very successful TNR program, trap, neuter, and release, $15 spay days. Up in Contra Costa County, they're very successful with it. By the way, feral cats provide a great service to the community. They keep the rodent population down. They actually provide, well, there's some studies about that. So I would like to advocate that the Livingston City Council take on a policy of using a trap, neuter, release program and have it be heard as an agenda item someday in the future.
Thank you. Anybody else? If not, the citizen comment portion is now closed. We'll move on to consent agenda. Items on the consent calendar considered routine and non-controversial will be enacted by one vote unless separate action is requested by the city manager or city council member. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a member of the city council or city manager requests a specific item be removed. Item number 8 is the second reading adoption of the ordinance number 639 approving the Fourth Amendment to the development agreement between City of Livingston and JEG Livingston Ranches LLC concerning 15.9 acres northeast of intersection Robin Avenue and B Street, Livingston. Number 9, approval of the minutes meeting held on April 16, 2019. Number 10, approval of the meeting held on April 22nd, 2019, and approval of the warrant register dated June 13, 2019. Council, any comments, or if not, I will entertain a motion at this time.
Make motion to approve the consent agenda.
I have a motion by Councilman Berger. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mayor Pro Tem. May I have roll call, please?
Roll call, Councilmember Baptista?
Yes.
Councilmember Aguilar?
Yes.
Councilmember King?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Garcia?
Yes.
Mayor Samra?
Yes.
Motion approved by a vote of 5 out of 0.
Okay, discussion and potential action items. This is number 12, resolution accepting the bid from Rope Construction Company for CMAC construction roundabout at Main Street and B Street, federal project number CML 5256015.
Good evening, Mayor, council members, and members of the public. Mario Gouveia, city engineer. As you may know, the city received advertised and received bids for construction of the roundabout here on Main Street. There were 3 bids received. They ranged from $453,000 and change to approximately $650,000. The low bid was submitted by Rolf Construction. They're out of Atwater. And so there's a recommendation for accepting the bid from Rolf Construction.
Okay, this item is now open to the public. Any comments? If not, it is closed to public. Council, any comments?
I just have a quick question. I know there's new council members up here. You want to give a little summary of how we came about to do a runabout on Main Street?
Sure.
And where we're getting that funding from?
Sure. Yeah. A few years back, the whole process initiated with the you want to do it, Jose?
Yeah. So we basically, back in 2012, we reached out to the Northern California urbanist group, and they came and they actually conducted a week-long charrette here, and we had input from all of the community, from business people. There was 35 of them. They actually put together, at that time, which was almost like a $200,000 document, kind of like a blueprint. And as part of that, there was a consulting group that was called Nelson Nygaard. And Nelson Nygaard was in charge of addressing the circulation and, the traffic flow and all that. Part of that was that they identified 2 locations in the city, or actually 3 locations in the city for roundabouts. One of them was off of B Street and Main, Briarwood and B Street and Winton Parkway. And so we went after some funding. We got the funding, and the funding kind of got delayed there for a little while, and it got bunted. Finally, the money hit, and so now that's kind of where we are today, in that the funding's in place, and we went out to bid, and so that's where we're at.
Yeah. And there were subsequent outreach meetings also through a few years ago.
Okay, thank you. Council, any comments? If not, anybody wish to make a motion?
Make a motion approving the resolution accepting the bid for Rolf Construction Company for the CMAQ construct roundabout at Main Street and B Street, federal project number CML 5256.
I have a motion by Councilman Aguilar. Do I have a second?
No, second.
Second by Mayor Pro Tem. May I have roll call, please?
Roll call, Councilmember Baptista?
Yes.
Councilmember Aguilar?
Yes.
Councilmember King?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Garcia?
Yes.
Mayor Samra?
Yes.
Motion approved by a vote of 5 out of 0.
Okay, our last item, this is to designate a voting delegate and alternate for the League of California Cities Annual Conference. Council, Mr., who's gonna?
Yeah, I'll address this. So every year, those of you who are interested in attending the League of California Cities Conference, we like to designate a voting delegate, then a voting delegate alternate, and then a third alternate. So pretty routine. So if you have any questions on this, I'm not sure who's planning on attending or going to this year's league conference, but we would like to have first, second, and third.
Okay, first of all, I can't remember who's our, okay, so Mayor Pro Tem is our representative, so are you going?
October 16th through the 18th.
Is anybody else going? Okay, so we need 2 or 3 people there.
16th to the 18th.
You're going? Okay. Do we need a third alternate, or
Oh, yeah, that guy is.
do we need a second person? A second alternate, I'm asking. Anybody else going? I'll go, that's fine. Huh? No, I'll go. All right, so Mayor Pro Tem, Mr. Aguilar and myself, we will be attending. So we need to, because you're the representative, Mayor Pro Tem, I'd say that he should be the voting delegate. Yes. And then pick a number between 1 and 10. Why? So you can pick the second or the...
So you could be the second delegate.
You want to be the second delegate? Okay. Then I'll be the alternate. So, all right, then I'll make the motion that. Does anybody wish to make a second?
No, second.
I have a second by Mayor Pro Tem. May I have roll call, please?
Councilmember Baptista?
Yes.
Councilmember Aguilar?
Yes.
Councilmember King?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Garcia?
Yes.
Mayor Samra?
Yes.
Motion approved on a vote of 5 to 0.
Just so you know, we are going to be adjourning to our closed session for about 10, 15 minutes. So you're welcome to stay. So, okay, thank you.